Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Emerick. I am an actor with Main Street and other places, and I'm also on staff as the Director of Marketing and Communications. And several years ago, I had the immense joy to do a play called Silent Sky by Lauren Gunderson at Main Street Theater, and it remains one of the most extraordinary experiences of my entire life, not just my career, but of my personhood. It was just one of those really rare and wonderful ones, and I thought for Main Street's Part of the Art series, I would share with you a little behind the scenes from our technical rehearsals that we had that I have never forgotten and that stays with me to this day. So a technical rehearsal, for those who may not know, with actors and our director and our stage manager, we rehearse for a couple of weeks without any lights or costumes or sound cues, things like that. And then we reach a point where we've got to start putting it all together. So we go into technical rehearsals, and we usually add in one or two elements at the time. Part of the set may have been there for our rehearsals or not, it depends, but now we're on the full set. We start adding in light cues and sound cues, and then shortly after that we add in costumes. We may have had some props during rehearsal, or some probably come in during tech too. So we have about a week of tech before our first preview. And so during Silent Sky, we're in tech. And if you saw the play, you may remember that at the end of the play, I played Henrietta Swan Leavitt, who was a remarkable human being in real life. You should look her up. Henrietta Swan Leavitt. She changed the face of astronomy. She changed the substance of astronomy, and I had the great honor to play her. And at the end of the play, and this did not happen in real life because women were not allowed to look at telescopes at night for the most part because a lady shouldn't be out after dark. But in this play, thanks to Lauren Gunderson, toward the end of her life, and she was sick at the end of her life, she is taken out by her friends, her dear friends, to go and look through the telescope and see what's there. So she goes to the top of the hill, and she gets to look through the telescope for the very first time. And we did it in a way that I climbed some steps and ascended to a pretty high point in the theater. And for those who saw it, you may remember there was, we had an arc of screens behind us, and throughout the play they would show different things, and at the end they showed projections from the actual Hubble telescope. We had an amazing designer of those projections, Peter Ton. He does lots of projections for us, and he's brilliant. And our set designer, Liz Freese, had hired him to do that. So there we are. I've already been in awe of the projections because they are amazing. So we're starting the monologue. Again, we're just teching through it, adding in the new elements. And there's a line, and I'm going to get really teary as I say this, there's a line where I said, and I saw, "My heaven." And when I said it in rehearsal, in tech, for the first time, stars appeared all over the theater, and I didn't know they were coming. And I've never done this before, but I had to stop rehearsal. Eric Marsh, our lighting designer, who's a dear friend and phenomenal designer, in addition to Peter with projections, the entire theater was filled with stars. And I had to take a moment and stop. And it was, I don't want to say it was magic because that undercuts it. It was extraordinary. And I got to be there in that moment. Becky Udden was directing, Elizabeth Marshall Black, Claire Hart Palumbo, Jennifer Dean, James Monahan, Debs Ramser. So many people very dear to me were involved with this production. Rodney Walsworth had made these incredible star plates that we would map the stars by. He's our props designer at Main Street. And on and on, and everyone who worked on that production is remarkable. So we get to this moment, and I am so taken away, taken aback, humbled, moved, that I had to stop. And it was very, very special to me. And everybody on the tech crew was really excited because usually the tech folks, they don't get nearly as much credit as they deserve. Our designers are amazing, and they make this world happen. We make it happen together. So I thought that I would share that story with you, and then I thought I would read you that monologue, and I'll ask you to picture with me a universe of stars that maybe you have never seen before, a night sky you've never seen. This Henrietta Swan Leavitt helped us find this. Or just a moment in your life when you were caught off guard in a way that filled you with so much joy you could barely breathe or speak. Oh, I also wanted to show you. I'll show you at the end. Let's read this first. It's been a couple years, so you'll forgive me if I read. On top of a hill, just blocks away, across the courtyard from my old desk, where it stood off limits, I see the great refractor telescope to which we happily break in that night. And taking Margie's hand, I lean close, hold my breath, and see my heaven. Some time from now, I gather myself and sneak outside and look up in perfect silence. And I know that distance is only space and time, and for some of us, light. I am out of time, but light has never let me down, and so I shift. The next year, Annie gets a vote. The next year, a man named Hubble uses my work to prove that our most unique galaxy is in fact one of billions upon billions. Then a man from Sweden calls, wondering if I might like a Nobel Prize. It's too late for me, but I take the compliment. Another few years, and Will dies in Boston. Annie by her side. Another year, and another war takes over the world. Then Annie dies. Then Peter. Then my sister, kissed by 12 grandchildren, a symphony on the radio. Then we harness the atom. Then orbit the Earth. Then stand on the moon. Then a telescope named Hubble, with wings set for space, shows us how vast and beautiful it all is. Because wonder will always get us there. Those of us who insist there is much more beyond ourselves. And I do. And there's a reason we measure it all in light. Thank you for letting me share that with you as a bit of a part of the art.